Hey Crosswatchers for Sagittarius, welcome to your September 2019 Crosswatcher video. This is a video for those of you curious about a Sagittarius. If you are a Sagittarius and you're watching, keep in mind guys, these are still general readings. It might not apply to you, and this is done for the other person, not for the Sagittarius. Your person might not be watching this channel, your person might not be into tarot readings, so there's different factors, and they're still general. Keep in mind these are general, so some of it may apply, some of it may not. This is not done to spy. This is not done to throw shade, spill tea, be negative in any way. I don't tolerate, hating on any zodiac signs here. We're doing this to see what is going to be beneficial for Sagittarius, what is going to be beneficial for Crosswatcher, what is beneficial and helpful for all parties involved. Okay, one more shuffle here. Okay, one more. It doesn't feel shuffled enough for me. See, it's like the cards are like not wanting to shuffle. There's something complex with you Crosswatchers and Sagittarius. Look, it's like not wanting to. There might be a power struggle. Let's see what the cards say. All right, Crosswatchers for Sagittarius. We've got Two of Wands. This card's been coming up fairly frequently, although for different signs and different spots of the reading, but it's coming up. And so this is decisions. This is weighing one thing over another and reading between the lines carefully. And the feeling and the sense that I'm getting in this reading for the Crosswatchers for Sagittarius, I feel like this is Sagittarius we're looking at. And I feel like that bird just popped out at me. And this is the first time I've read it in this way. It's the first time the card has spoken to me in this way. But that bird just popped out at me. And it makes me feel like your Sagittarius is watching you with like this eagle eye. Your Sagittarius is watching you like a hawk. But they're not saying anything. So they're taking note, Crosswatcher. Your Sagittarius is taking note. Or if you are like really curious about Sagittarius and you're watching them and you think they don't know it, Sagittarius knows it. I hate to break it to you, Crosswatcher, but Sagittarius knows it. So they're like watching you, watching them. It's an interesting energy, right? But there's some kind of an impasse. Maybe it's not a power struggle. Maybe it's an impasse. Maybe it's an energy where both of you are waiting for the other one to make the first move. Whether that first move is to apologize or to take things further or to take the first step, whatever it may be. I just feel like you guys are just kind of like sniffing around each other. There's a lot that's not being said. That's what it feels like to me. There's a lot that's not being said, but there's a lot that's being taken in. Lots of things that are being noted, lots of things that are being noticed. Next here, we have Ace of Wands. So already we got a lot of fire in this reading. So we know, Crosswatcher, you are dealing with a Sagittarius that is in their full-on Sagittarius element. They are in their Sagittarius prime, okay? So from a decision, an action is being taken, an action is being made, okay? And I don't know why, Crosswatcher, I just heard the term, I just heard it right now, Clash of the Titans. And I think there may have been a book. I think there may have been a movie. I'm not sure. I know, I think there was a movie. I have never seen it, okay? I've never read the book, never watched the movie, but I just heard that. I just heard that phrase. So there could be a bit of a power struggle. I mean, it could be, Crosswatcher, that you've got this really big badass energy, but you're dealing with a Sagittarius who's the same way. So I'm just going to tell you right now, I feel like you're dealing with a Sagittarius who wants to feel like they are in charge in this situation. okay? And I don't mean it in an abusive way. I don't mean it in a negative way. Now, obviously, guys, some of you might be dealing with an abusive situation. We know what abusive situations are. If somebody is yelling at you, or somebody is saying abusive things to you, or somebody is physically harming you, then you need to leave. You need to get out, okay? You need to be a badass in the smart way and get away quickly, quietly if need be. But for other people where you're not dealing with a toxic person, you just might be dealing with somebody who's very old school and wants to like take charge of the situation, or maybe mainstream, right? Like maybe you're dealing with a Pisces that is feminine, whether they be male or female. Maybe you're dealing with a Pisces, not Pisces, Sagittarius. I'm sorry. Maybe you're dealing with a Sagittarius who is more like has feminine traits or feminine characteristics. And for centuries, it's always like, oh, the masculine energy is in charge. So they might be like anti-old school. So maybe I shouldn't have said old school, right? But I feel like your Sagittarius is wanting to be like the leader in the situation. And I think that's the issue, Crosswatcher. I think you're stepping into a situation where both people want to be the leader. And that might be a little bit challenging. But there might also be a lot of passion. So you guys might be having one of those things where there's lots of arguing, but there's also a lot of kissy going on. Next here, you've got Three of Pentacles. So Crosswatcher, what's going to help you and benefit in this situation, instead of getting into that tug of war, instead of two people trying to be the leader, and you all may have differences. And Crosswatcher, I feel like you and Sagittarius have a lot of differences. I have a feeling this is why both of you are wanting to be leaders, because you have very different ways of looking at the world, and you have very different upbringings and different backgrounds, and so you have a different way of doing things. So Three of Pentacles is saying, Crosswatcher, instead of trying to bring Sagittarius around to your way of seeing things, those are things that take time, okay? You can't do that in a week or a month or even a year or even a few years sometimes. Some things take a very long time for people to have certain realizations. So Three of Pentacles is saying, Crosswatcher, you need to allow Sagittarius to have this focus with you on what you guys agree about. You need to focus on what is the same, and you need to focus on building instead of the tug of war of this way and oh, no, this way. No, you listen to me. No, you listen to me. Instead of getting caught up in all of that nonsense, focus on what you all agree about, okay? This is how you're going to be able to build this relationship, because this is the problem otherwise, Crosswatcher. With that Ace of Wands coming in, it felt like a very, 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 like, stereotypical Ace of Wands. It felt very fiery and very passionate to me in the energy. So I feel like otherwise what's happening is you're starting to have a relationship with somebody you love to hate, or you're having a relationship where it's very love and hate, right? Like I can't stand you, but oh, I can't get you out of my mind, and I can't, you know, like very complicated energy otherwise. And I for one, don't like that energy. Maybe some people find it exciting. Maybe some people are into it. I, for one, am not. I don't like that kind of energy. And if you, Crosswatcher, are hoping for something that's going to be long-term, right? If you don't just want to have that, we're fighting, we're kissing, we're fighting, we're making out energy. If that gets old for you and you want this to actually be a relationship, then this is saying you got to focus on what you all have in common, because I feel like this is one of those things where you can't seem to leave each other alone. So figure it out and make it work, because you seem to be coming back to each other. Whatever's happening in the bedroom seems to be bringing you back to each other. So do what you can to see eye to eye. Focus on what you all have in common and build upon that, instead of wasting your time fighting and arguing and, you know, being done with each other and then getting all hot and bothered and going back, okay? So next we have Ace of Cups. I like Ace of Cups. This makes me happy. Okay, so Ace of Cups is a card about again, obviously, happiness, passion, emotions, feelings, okay? It's about things becoming emotional, or things becoming, not emotional, but emotions getting involved, right? It's more than just below the belt, right? There's feelings that are growing. There's feelings that are developing. There's passion from the heart, not just passion from the groin, okay? Emotions are developing. But Ace of Cups is very important and very special to me when it comes up in a reading. And some of you may have heard me say this again, but forgive me, I'm going to say it for those of you who may have forgotten it, or those of you who are new here. This is just for me in my readings. It's not a hard and fast tarot rule. It's one of the things that Spirit has shown me over the years of reading. I see Ace of Cups come up for a person when they're coming into a new cycle and a new agreement with the universe where they're done with pain. They're done with it. They don't want it anymore. They've learned from it, right? And they're like, I don't want to have the karma, the negative karma. I don't want to have the soulmates that have to come in and teach me a lesson by breaking my heart. I'm done with that. I've learned my lesson. I know what to look out for. I know what to pay attention for. And I'm not going to make those mistakes anymore. And I don't want to feel the pain anymore. And Spirit says, you know what? You got it. Awesome. We're so glad you learned. We're so glad you don't need pain as a motivator anymore. So now all of your lessons, you're going to receive it through happy experiences. You're going to receive lessons. Well, I can't say all of them, but you're going to start receiving happy lessons. You're going to start receiving lessons where it's through things that you accomplish, or, people who are good to you. So instead of being like, oh my goodness, no more, I'm done, universe, no more, I no more of this. You're like, yes, this is amazing. More, please. I love this. So I do feel, Crosswatcher, you and Sagittarius are at a very significant crossroads where you can learn to have that kind of a relationship, where you can learn from joy and emotional fulfillment. It doesn't just have to be the, fighting and kissing and making up and making out cycle. Maybe that's the way it's been for Sagittarius in the past. Maybe that's the way it's been for you in the past. But this is like, no, like real emotional feelings are coming. Real emotional intimacy, right? And making each other happy, making each other truly happy in fulfilling ways. Okay? And it could be through, working on projects together. Maybe you guys are getting together and doing something creative together. That might be a good way in for some of you if you're trying to get in with Sagittarius. Maybe you all can get together on some project or something that's artistic or creative or fulfilling. It could be volunteer work, activism, just something that feeds the soul. So if Crosswatchers, some of you are looking for a way in, or trying to get to know Sagittarius, or trying to realize that if, you can make the relationship work, it might be good to find the common ground and do something dedicated or devoted to that, right? Like, oh, I noticed you love animals. Oh, have you ever thought about, volunteering at the shelter, or I don't know, animal shelter, like whatever. If it's something they're very passionate about. Oh, I've been wanting to do that. Have you ever done it? Oh, maybe we can go do, like just ways like that. That might be a good way to like calm some of this fiery energy and get to know each other on a one-on-one kind of level. Okay. So next we have here, Three of Swords. Why are we going from such a happy card to such a sad card? Usually in my experience, when that happens, especially after the Ace of Cups, it's not necessarily that, this person is doing something to break your heart or betray you, or that you're doing something to break their heart or betray them. It's like you start letting your guard down and you start letting somebody in, and all the old hurts start coming to the surface. The things you thought you forgot, they start coming to the surface. What if they do to me what, my ex did? What if they do to me what happened that last time or that one time? And it's all of these, like, you start remembering the pain that you've been through in the past. Okay? So if that is happening, Crosswatcher, you gotta let it out, all right? If you need to slow down the relationship with Sagittarius, or you need to step back and not pursue them as much, if you all aren't in a relationship, that might be a good idea until you get this gunk out, this emotional gunk out of your system, right? So that you're not holding on to it and so that you're not triggering it. This feels very roller coastery to me, you know, the thing here with Sagittarius. And I don't think it's because Sagittarius is doing anything to hurt you or you're doing anything to hurt Sagittarius. I just feel like you guys are kind of like cracking each other open and all the stuff's coming to the surface here. And so it needs to be let out, okay? It needs to be let out so that you can enjoy the good, positive stuff you all have to have each other, all have to offer each other, okay? I don't typically pick, I don't normally pull clarifiers in these videos, but I'm going to pull a clarifier for Three of Swords just because I don't want to leave it there on that note. And I know despite what I say, some people say Three of Swords and they're like, no, it's going to be something bad. And I don't want to end it on that note. So let's pull a clarifier. What the Spirit wants us to know about this Three of Swords. What the Spirit wants us to know about this Three of Swords. Oh, look. We have the Sun. Okay, so Sun to me is a happy card. It's true love. So I feel some of you are like starting to fall in love, or you're kind of like in those phases or stages, and it again is making you feel very vulnerable, or it's bringing to light. Light is being shed on all of the injured parts of you as you're falling in love. That's again, so it's pretty much clarifying for me. Some of you are having to make a realization of letting somebody go. And I'm going to be very honest with you, Crosswatcher. I feel like some of you might be lusting for a Sagittarius, and you might just be seeing the Sagittarius as a distraction, or like in between, something in between until some other person comes back to you, or you end up reconciling with somebody else. But I feel like at some point in your interaction with Sagittarius, you're realizing, you know what, I gotta let that other person go. Like either you feel like it's not gonna happen, or you realize why it's not good for you because Sagittarius and you are having something healthier, and you're like, whoa, like this just made me realize what a toxic thing I'm coming out of, and I probably shouldn't go back to that toxic thing, even though maybe I still love that person. So Crosswatchers, some of you aren't over somebody else yet, right? And you're just looking at Sagittarius as a distraction. Well, Sagittarius deserves not to be a distraction, okay? They deserve somebody who's stepping in and, you know, gonna give them the real deal. And so Crosswatcher, I feel like some of you, you're the ones who might be going in just kind of saying, let me get out there, and then you're catching feelings. Sagittarius is also catching feelings. But Crosswatcher, I feel like you may have this thing where it's like, oh, you know, like that other thing was toxic and I gotta let it go because Sagittarius is showing me a good relationship here, and it might be very overwhelming. It might be overwhelming to have that realization, but understand that you're having the realization so that you can come into happiness in your love life, because that's what your angels and guides want for you. Okay, my dears? Be sure to watch your love reading for your zodiac sign for the month of September. There's a link in the description that will take you to those. You may need a private reading. I'm more than happy to do that. If you click on the Calendly link, it will take you to my scheduling page and you'll be able to schedule your private reading with me. Okay, my dears? And be sure to make sure that you watch the weekly forecasts. I know people get really into love. I understand it's a part of being human. I'm not faulting you for it. But it makes me sad when people get so into it that they forget about themselves. They forget about their spiritual journey, their career, their finances, their relationship with family, all the other important parts of life. And that's why every single week, not every month, every week, I do a general reading for each zodiac sign. So please watch those, you guys. They're very helpful. And I don't want you to forget about you. Okay, so watch those videos for you. They're free. They're short. Why not make use of them? And thank you so much, guys, for liking, sharing, commenting, subscribing. If you want to know which card deck I used, I always have a link in the description too that will take you to the deck that was used. And I thank you guys for watching, and I'm wishing you a fabulous September.